In the thick, dense, and tall grass of Route 1, you're more than likely to find yourself a Rattata. And if that's not the case, it'll probably be a Pidgey. In the vast ocean, and even ponds, you're 97% likely to find yourself a Magikarp. And in every single cave of Pokemon, you're guaranteed to find yourself a Zubat. In the smelly and stuffy offices, you're very likely to find yourself a 9-to-5 salary worker. At fast food places, factories, and grocery stores, you're guaranteed to find yourself a minimum wage worker. At university students, and in every single city, people driving cars. These are the worlds that are laid out for us. The world that we have fallen into, and the life that we are probably living. Chances are, if you have access to this video, this is the entire life that you've seen. People that are at the predictable places, following the predictable purposes. But for some reason, both in the game of Pokemon, and also in the life that we live, exist people that are in these places that don't identify as these predictable purposes. In Pokemon, they're legendary beasts. They roam the entire game and the entire map of the game. Not bound by a single location, not bound by a single environment. They're able to survive anywhere. And your chances of encountering them is less than 5%. If you happen to be on the right map, of course. The environment, time, and anything predictable that comes down to their purpose is not determined by their location and the Pokemon around them. These legendary beasts have taken upon themselves to create the lifestyle that they live. And each one of them is unique. There's only supposed to be one of them that exists in the entire Pokemon universe. But we assume just because they've been labeled as legendary that they have powerful innate abilities, that they've been granted their powers, that they've been lucky enough to be born into that sort of freedom. In fact, that's how we cast and label those that are great, the people that fall into the category of the 1%, or are pro athletes, or the people that we idolize in social media and also as celebrities. Nobody talks about how they had to do exactly the same thing that the people who are predictable had to do to get to where they needed to be. And it's not being pushed into that world. It's putting the work that needed to be done to get to where they were. What we did up till now put us where we are now. Even though we can argue there are unfortunate events, even though we can argue that there are lucky events, these legends, these legendary beasts, have taken it upon themselves to put in what they need, regardless of whether or not the luck or the misfortune pays out for them. In Pokemon, these beasts end up almost as powerful as the top trainers do, called the Elite Four at the end of the game. In fact, you can use these Pokemon to take down the entire Elite Four. But do you think they just had these abilities by birth? Let's assume they did. Let's assume they started off with these abilities. Then that means that they should stay with that exact ability their entire life. And if everybody else is growing, if everybody else is working, if everybody else is improving, then they would eventually fall behind. But by the time you meet them in the game of Pokemon, chances are they've surpassed your party. And this isn't just by chance. The thing legendary beasts do different from what predictable beasts do is take their lives into their own hands. They aren't about to let the world decide where they need to be. They aren't about to let the world decide their worth. They aren't about to let the world choose how strong they can be. And to top things off, these are the most difficult to capture. You have to prove your strength in order to catch these. Even though they've been captured, they've decided to bestow their power on you because you have proven yourself to be stronger. They never gave up their control. They are choosing to be in your care at that point. Listen, I'm not here to tell you that you're special, and I'm not here to tell you that you can be exactly like these celebrities, but I'm here to tell you that it's possible, and that you are not free from the fact that all of us have to put in the amount of work that is needed to become what we need to be. But if you want to be mediocre, no one's stopping you. In fact, the world supports it because the world needs mediocre people. If you want to be like everybody else, then follow everybody else. Do what everybody else does. But if you want to be a legendary beast, you can't let the world control you. You can't let the world decide who you need to be, what your value is, and what skills you decide to take for yourself, and where you want to be. You decide your purpose when you are a legendary beast. You decide your time when you are a legendary beast. And you decide where you put your powers when you are a legendary beast. You will be the hardest motherfucker to capture. People will have to prove themselves in order to get any of your time. Now, if that sounds appealing, if any of that sounds worth what you want to be, then break the ordinary. And stop following what the world keeps telling you you need to be. And just be what you want to be. And put in the work. That is the only way we will ever be legendary beasts.